friends. Welcome to Firefly in the Willow Yoga. I'm Rebecca, and thank you for joining me for today's class. Sometimes we all just need a shift. Maybe that's a shift in perspective, or a shift in mood, or literally just a physical shift. This class is designed with that shift in mind. I'll be using a couple of blocks and a strap for this practice. So take a moment, gather up what you need, and I'll see you on the mat.
Let us begin today in Sukhasana. So come to a seat on your mat and do whatever you need to do to feel settled in and connected here in your space. Maybe allow your eyes to flutter closed or your gaze just to lower down to the floor. Take an inhale through the nose, and as you're exhaling, consciously and intentionally sink your shoulders away from your ears. Take a moment to connect to where your hands are in contact with your body. And just ask yourself, if there are any changes that you need to make? Does it feel good to rest your palms upward and share your energy? Or do you need to keep your energy to yourself today, and it's better to have your palms down? Release the holding in your belly. We spend so much of our days and even our time during yoga pulling that belly up and in. So take this moment to allow your belly to be soft. Feel how, as you do that, breathing down into the belly comes naturally. The soft belly expands like a balloon, contracts as you exhale. Just allow yourself to feel that now. Now bring your attention to the base of your spine. What does it feel like? Allow your attention to slowly walk up your spine, one vertebra at a time, rising up behind your navel, up behind your solar plexus, in between your shoulder blades, to the base of your skull. Feel this line of energy from tailbone all the way up to the top of the neck. And just notice what it feels like. And now keeping some of that conscious awareness in the spine, allow your fingertips to reach out next to you on the mat. Inhale deeply. And as you're exhaling, just drop one ear towards one shoulder. It doesn't matter which one, whichever one feels most natural to you. Allow the opposite shoulder to move away from the ear so that the side of the neck becomes long. If it feels good for you to use your other hand to gently provide some traction or to reach those fingers out a little farther on the mat, you can do that now. Imagine that you can see this muscle in the side of your neck becoming longer, the small fibers untangling from each other. And allow yourself to release from that shape, inhaling your head back up straight, and then exhaling as you drop your head in the other direction. Once again, consciously creating that link between the ear and the shoulder, providing some traction with the other hand only if that invites a sensation that's pleasurable to you. Envisioning those little fibers of muscle loosening and lengthening. And then allowing the head to be inhaled back up to neutral. From here, we'll inhale both hands up, interlacing the hands in behind the back of the head. And if you like, you can allow the eyelids to flutter open. So we're opening the chest nice and wide here, moving the shoulder blades back towards each other. And from here, we'll just tuck the chin slightly, the hands coming back behind the head, and then pulling that chin back towards the chest so that you can feel this nice, long, deep stretch in the back of the neck. And if you have any discomfort here, just allow your hands to drop back down to your knees, focusing only on dipping the chin to the chest. Inhale the head up here, bringing the hands to namaste position, a prayer position behind the head, so that they're kind of like a shark fin pointing out behind the head. And from here, we'll turn the fingertips up towards the ceiling and inhale as we shift the fingertips up, reaching up over the head, allowing the gaze either to remain forward or to follow the hands if you like. Exhaling now, we'll bring the hands to heart center. Once again, tucking the chin to the chest, coming into this position of reverence. And if you like to set an intention for this practice, or take a moment just to reflect on what brings you to your mat today, this is a good time to do that. We'll release the hands now, inhaling the arms up overhead. Exhaling, hands come to heart center. Inhaling, arms sweep up overhead, Follow the hands with your gaze only if that feels good. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhaling, arms come up overhead. And this time, as we're exhaling, allow yourself to twist to one side, any side. Fingertips coming to the floor in the back. Spine up nice and straight. Maybe moving that gaze over the shoulder. Inhale to grow tall. Exhale to release slightly. And then choose if you'd like to keep your front hand in the same position, or if you'd like to turn that hand palm out. Then inhale to grow tall and exhale back into your twist. And just notice how that feels different. Does it change the way the energy moves? Does it change the way you experience this shape in your body? And then we'll inhale, arms overhead to release. And exhale, dropping in on the other side. Inhale to grow tall. Exhale to twist, perhaps taking a gaze over the shoulder. Exhale to release, slightly turning the hand palm out. Inhaling, grow tall. Exhale, release. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. And exhale, hands come down to heart center. Let's come to a tabletop now. So we'll move the legs out of the way. Really root yourself down here today, focusing on the heel of the hand where it makes contact with the mat. With each fingertip as it reaches out long and then pulls back slightly, creating that little cup underneath the hand that we know as Hasta Bandha or hand lock. Really feeling the connection of the knees to the mat and how they support the hips. And stretching that spine out nice and long, taking the gaze about 6 inches in front of the fingertips, maybe a little more. Imagining that the whole back, the back of the head, the shoulders, the tailbone is like a table. Allow the belly to relax and feel how that changes the experience in your body. And then pull the belly button up so that the front body is coming to meet the back body, and feel how that encourages all different kinds of engagement, not just the belly, but also the shoulders, the hips. And using that awareness that you have now of the feeling that happens when the belly is released or the belly button is brought in, begin to inhale yourself into cow pose, releasing that belly and just allowing the body to move in the way that it naturally does when you really drop that belly down. And then on your exhale, pull that belly button up and in, rounding the spine, coming into cat. Inhale, belly releases, coming into cow. Exhale, cat. Taking this awareness through a couple of rounds of breath and motion on your own. And then coming back to a neutral spine. We'll take the left hand now and exhale as we thread it underneath the right, coming into thread the needle. And you can choose where to keep your right hand, pressing into the floor in front of your face, or maybe extend it out long, perhaps even wrapped around behind the small of your back. On our next inhale, we'll press into that right hand, bringing the left hand back next to the right, coming back into our tabletop. And then take the right hand, threading it underneath the left. And coming into this stretch on the side. We'll inhale as we press into the left hand, coming back to tabletop. And then on our next exhale, we'll press out through the right heel, imagining like we might be pressing that heel into the wall behind us. And bring that sense of engagement that you felt before back into the body, pulling that front body into the back body, feeling that stability. And then when you're ready, if you like to shoot that left hand out in front, coming into an arm leg balance. Sinking that right hip down so that it's in alignment with the left. Deep breath. Inhale. And then exhale the hand and the knee back to the mat. Finding your tabletop. Taking a nice inhale and exhaling, pressing out through the left heel. Pressing into that imaginary wall. Pressing away from the mat. Belly to spine. And then bringing in that right arm, reaching out nice and long if you like. And exhale, releasing the hand and the knee back to the mat. I'm going to walk the hands now a few handprints out in front as we come into puppy pose. So you'll be keeping the hip over the knee here. So allow the hands to reach out in front, sinking the chest down towards the mat. And maybe you rest your forehead on a block or on the floor, or perhaps you rest your chin on the floor. Imagining the heart becoming heavy as the belly did and sinking down towards the floor, allowing the underside of the arm to open and stretch. Feeling the heart supported here and held by the earth. And then on your next inhale, pressing into both palms, inhaling to come back up. We'll walk those hands about halfway back towards the body. So a couple of handprints. And then turning the toes under in the back, we'll shift the hips up, coming into downward facing dog as I get visited by the cat. And so knees can be nice and bent here. You can walk your dog if you like. Pressing away from your mat. Getting that sensation of moving your weight, the whole weight of your body back away from your hands and into your heels. This may be more of an energetic thing than a physical action. As you allow your heels to come to stillness, just imagine that the weight of your body could rise up from your fingertips to your tailbone and then sink down from your tailbone into your heels. Another breath here. And allow the gaze to shift forward towards the hands. We'll take small steps, walking the feet up towards the hands, and then coming to a nice, relaxed forward fold with the knees very bent here. So allow your legs, the top of your legs, to become like a table for your belly. And then you might even just allow the hands to relax the back of the hands down to the floor, really allowing gravity to assist us in this bent knee forward fold. Feel how the backs of your shoulders also relax and lengthen, as well as the hamstrings. Sometimes we try to bring unnecessary levels of sensation into our practice. Really, our muscles stretch best when they're relaxed. So allow that relaxation to come into your hamstrings now. And if you like to bring the fingertips to the floor and inhale up halfway. I'll exhale into this forward fold just a little more. And then either bringing one hand above each bent knee or inhaling the arms up overhead. We'll inhale up to stand. Hands come to heart center. Taking a breath here, just experiencing what it feels like to come to this first standing posture of the practice. And then we'll inhale to sweep the arms up overhead. And exhale, coming down into forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, releasing into the fold. We'll take a big step back now with the left foot, coming into a lunge with the right leg forward. If you have blocks available today and you'd like to bring those in to support your lunge, you can do that. Instead of taking one hand on either side of that right leg, we'll sink the left hip down as we pull the right hip back, shifting the gaze forward. And then allowing that left knee to drop down to the mat. You can take the top of the left foot to the mat also. And we'll take one hand and then the other over that bent front knee. And take a moment here to adjust, if you can, bringing that left knee back just a little bit more. So really bringing in this length in the front of the left leg. Pulling back through that right hip and forward through the left, pressing into the top of the left foot. And you can keep the hands here, or you can inhale the arms up overhead. Maybe even exhaling into a little bit of a back bend here, opening the collarbones, moving the shoulder blades towards each other. If you did choose that little back bend, inhaling to come out of it just a bit, hands really reaching up towards the ceiling here. And if you like, you can grasp that left wrist, pulling it over towards the right side, bringing a little length into the side body. And if you've chosen to keep your hands on your knee here, that's okay too. We'll inhale now to come back up. And exhale, bringing the hands down around to frame that right foot, turning the toes back under on the left, coming back into our lunge. Big inhale here. And then as we're exhaling, bring that left foot back to meet the right. Coming back into forward fold, keeping your knees just as bent as you need to. Maybe using your blocks if you brought them in for your lunge. And then inhale all the way up to stand. Hands come to heart center. Allow yourself to close your eyes and take just a moment to reflect on what just happened in your body. What did it feel like? How can you see it? Through a lens of kindness or a lens of judgment? And then allow yourself to let those thoughts drop away. We'll inhale the arms up overhead, reaching up through the fingertips, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Stepping back with the right leg this time. And exhaling as we come into this lunge with the left leg forward, bringing those blocks in to support your lunge if you like. Sinking down through that right hip, back through the left, bringing the gaze forward if you can. Couple of breaths. Feeling this lengthening in the hip flexor, which we so often keep flexed in our day-to-day lives as we sit for long hours in chairs. So allowing that to extend. Dropping that right knee to the mat this time and allowing it to be a little bit behind the hip. Top of the right foot comes to the floor, feeling into the foundation of the front foot and the top of the back foot here as we pull that belly button into the spine, and then walk one hand and then the other above the left knee. Again, pressing forward through that right hip, feeling that lengthening in the hip flexor. Keeping the hands above the knee if you like, staying right here, or inhaling, arms come up overhead. Exhale, bringing in that little back bend. Inhale to come back up tall, grasping the right wrist in the left hand this time, and exhaling over towards the left. Inhale to come back up to center, and exhale, hands come back down to frame the left foot, coming back up on the toe, exhaling back into this lunge. And then inhaling, bringing that right foot back to meet the left. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, release into the forward fold. And then inhale all the way up to stand. Hands come to heart center. Again, taking a moment here just to notice what happened. Where did your mind go? How did your body experience those shapes? And how can you shift how you see that if you need to? And then allowing those thoughts to be released. Inhaling, the arms come up overhead. You can allow the gaze to follow the hands if that feels good. Exhale, hands come back down as we sweep back into forward fold. And here, if you do have a block handy, you can bring that block in front of your left foot. We'll drop into the forward fold here. Inhale up halfway. Really imagine here that you might be able to move the lower belly away from the hips, creating space in this lower part of the belly as you extend out and then drop over the legs. And then taking the left hand to the block or the left fingertips to the floor if you're not working with the block today. We're going to bend into that left knee slightly, keeping the right leg extended, and then inhale up through the right arm, coming into a twist and lengthening through that right hamstring at the same time. Shooting those fingertips up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, bringing that right hand down to the mat. If you have a block, you can shift that over towards the right side this time, dipping into that right knee a little, straightening through the left and inhaling open through the left arm. And exhale to release. Shift those blocks out of the way here. We're going to plant both hands. We'll step both feet back, coming into a plank here for just one moment. Really pressing away from the mat, imagining bringing the heart up through the back of the shoulders. And then once again, experiencing what happens when we allow the belly to release. Actually kind of difficult here because it allows the lower back to sink down. So then pulling that belly button in towards the spine and feeling how that supports the plank. Good. And then dropping both knees to the mat. You can have your choice here, keeping the knees together or allowing them to widen out to the sides, coming into child's pose, lengthening through the lower back, opening up through the shoulders. A deep breath. And now, with our next inhale, we'll allow our inhale to help us to rise up from our child's pose, turning the toes under and shifting the hips up, coming into downward facing dog. Grounding into the left foot. We'll bring the big toes together here and then inhale up through the right heel. Exhaling as we bring the right leg in between the hands, coming once again into a lunge on this side. Dropping the left knee to the floor, we will take the top of the left foot to the floor as well, shifting the gaze forward in this low lunge. Inhaling here, and then exhaling. Let's sink the hips back, walking the hands back towards the hips, coming into a half split here. And so you can bring your blocks in if you have them handy, or just allow your fingertips to be on the floor. We'll inhale to roll forward, back over that right leg. Exhale, shifting the hips back. Inhale, rolling forward. Exhale, shifting the hips back. One more time. Inhale, hips coming forward. And exhale, shifting the hips back. Inhaling back forward over that knee, we'll plant both hands around the right knee, rolling up on the left toes and taking that right foot back to meet the left, coming back into downward facing dog. Take a moment to pedal out here or just hold your dog, anything that feels like the right thing for your body. And then bringing the big toes close to each other again, we'll inhale up through the left heel this time. Exhaling, bringing that left leg in between the hands. Dropping the right knee to the mat. Choosing if you would like to use your blocks or not. Perhaps bringing them around the left foot as you extend into this low lunge. Inhaling here and then exhaling, sinking those hips back, maybe dragging those blocks back with you. Coming into half split. Inhaling to roll forward. And exhaling, drawing those hips back. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, drop the hips back. One more time. Inhale, coming forward. Exhale, hips come back. And then inhaling forward, planting the hands, rolling back up on those right toes. Left foot comes back to meet the right, coming back to downward facing dog. Holding it here for 3 breaths. Imagining as you inhale the weight of the body coming up to the tailbone, and as you exhale, the weight of the body sinking down through the heels. And then shifting the gaze forward, we'll bend the knees slightly, walk or hop up to the top of the mat. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, release into this forward fold. Inhale all the way up to stand. Hands come to heart center. And you can stay here at the top of your mat. I'm going to turn towards the camera so you can see me. So from our equal standing pose, or Tadasana, Samastitihi, we're going to ground into that left foot as we inhale the right leg up. So knee is coming up, foot's parallel to the floor here. Finding your focal point. And then we're going to hug that knee into the chest. Finding this balance here. Sinking the shoulders down and back. And then moving very slowly, remembering that you can always find a wall in your space to use. Not important here to struggle. Going to allow the hand to come down to the ankle of that foot and then move that leg around behind as we come into a thigh stretch on this side. And if you like, you can inhale that opposite arm up and overhead, really spreading those collarbones away from each other. And as you are here, begin to just press the top of the foot into the hand, feeling how that automatically begins to bring you into a shape like dancer. And again, feel free to use the wall in your space. And don't be concerned here about how much you fold forward or how far you bring that leg up in the back. Just move with your own body. Then come slowly back into your thigh stretch. And allow that leg to release down towards the floor. Choose to come back to the top of your mat, or again, find balance in your space, the wall or a piece of furniture. And then we'll ground down into the opposite foot. And the other foot up, one-legged mountain. Finding your focal point. And then hugging that knee into the chest. Transferring the hand to the ankle, bringing that leg around behind, top of the foot or the ankle, maybe even a strap. Inhaling the arm up overhead if you like, spreading those collarbones apart. And then pressing the foot into the hand, allowing the leg to rise. Trying to keep those hips in alignment with each other. Or maybe just staying in a thigh stretch here. And then when you're ready, coming back to your thigh stretch. And gently releasing that leg back down to the floor. Coming back to Tadasana. Again, just take a moment to reflect on your experience in those balance postures, and not just what your body does with that, but what your mind does with it. How do you see it? Can you shift from a place of judgment to a place of greater kindness and compassion? And now allow those thoughts to be released. We'll inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, release. Stepping back with the left foot. We'll exhale as we come into a left lunge. Pressing into that front foot now, we'll bring the left foot back to meet the right. Exhale back into forward fold. Stepping back with the right foot this time. We'll exhale as we come into this lunge around the left foot. And now pressing into that left foot, inhaling the back foot to meet the front. Exhale, forward fold. Planting both hands now. We'll step the feet back, coming into plank. We'll hold it here for 3 breaths. First breath. Second breath. Third breath. If you like, you can shift back into a child's pose here, or you could roll to one side, opening this up into a side plank. So choosing where you'd like to go from here. And taking your favorite variation of this pose, maybe lifting a leg, or just staying right here. One more breath. And then very slowly and with control, almost like you're painting a wall in front of you with your hand, slowly come back around into your plank. Take a moment here to readjust and then shift to the other side. Remembering you can always support this side plank by bringing your foot around to the front, if you need to do that. So choosing your best variation. One more breath. And then again, very slowly exhaling that hand down. Coming back to plank. And then dropping the knees to the floor, bringing the big toes together, taking the knees out wide or keeping them in close and shifting back into child's pose. And allowing that belly to be nice and soft here, either supported by the knees or relaxing towards the floor. And we'll allow our inhale to help us rise up from the shape, shifting the legs out to one side. We'll come back to a seated position at the back of the mat. Bringing those legs out nice and long and coming into Dandasana. Bringing the toes back towards the face, pressing the fingertips or maybe the fists into the floor. And remembering you can always use a rolled up blanket underneath your tailbone here if you need to change the angle of your pelvis to make this a little more accessible. It's really being active in this position, pulling the toes back towards the face, firming the quadriceps, firming the calves. And then releasing a little of that engagement. If you have a strap handy or shirt or a dish towel, we can use that for our Dandasana forward fold. So take that strap around the balls of the feet and then roll the shoulders onto the back so that the chest is nice and open wide. And it's not necessary here to lock out the knees or force the knees to be straight. So just allow them to be soft. And inhaling to grow tall, we'll exhale, working on bringing the belly towards the thighs. So come forward any amount here. Just moving to the point of sensation in the hamstrings and the calves. That feels like the right level of sensation for you today. We'll inhale to release slightly and exhale back into the fold. Inhale to release. Exhale to deepen. And one more time. Inhale, release. Exhale, deepen. Inhaling all the way back up now. You could take your strap with you. We're going to come down to the back. And when you come down to the back, you can bring the knees into the chest if you like. And then we'll allow the soles of both feet to find the floor. And we're going to take the right leg and extend it up towards the ceiling, taking that strap around the ball of the right foot. And you can walk both hands up either side of that strap. And then just allow the weight of your shoulders to sink back down towards the mat, allowing that to be what stretches the hamstring. Seeking only the level of sensation that's right for you here today, not being concerned about how close the leg comes to the face or whether or not you look like anyone else in this shape, but just simply focusing on you and considering how to transform what you see. Taking both straps in the right hand now will allow the left arm to come out to the side, or maybe bring the left hand to the left hip. Take an inhale here, and as we're exhaling, just allow that right leg to open out to the right side. And notice how the left knee may want to flop out to the left side to compensate, or the left hip may want to rise from the floor. So just encourage that left knee to come back to center, left hip to sink down. And now inhale that right leg back up overhead. We'll use the strap to guide the outside of the right foot to the top of the left thigh, and then shift the strap out of the way. Inhaling here, and then exhaling, bringing that left knee in towards the chest, maybe interlacing the fingers behind the left leg, coming into a reclined pigeon. And you can do whatever you like with the left leg here, extending it up towards the ceiling, bending it slightly, keeping it very bent, maybe even bending it all the way and interlacing the fingers around the shin instead of behind the thigh. Just remembering to steer clear of the area right underneath the top of the knee here. There's some important nerves there that can be impinged. Now allow that left foot, sole of the foot, to find the floor, followed by the right. And we'll take the strap again around the left ball of the foot this time. Walking those hands up either side of the strap, and then allowing the weight of the shoulders to stretch through that left hamstring. Taking both straps into the left hand. Right hand comes to the hip or comes out long along the floor. And then as we're exhaling, opening that left leg out to the side. If your space is small or you have a wall in the way like I do, you might just bend at the knee, opening the hip. And then inhaling the left leg back up overhead. We'll use the strap to help guide that left foot to the top of the right thigh, outside of the left foot, top of the right thigh. And then on an exhale, we can bring that right leg up from the floor, stretching through the outside of the left hip. And then allowing that right sole of the foot to release back down to the floor. We'll unwind the legs and then bring one knee and then the other into the chest. Maybe rolling from side to side. Taking the hands through the legs, grasping the big toes or maybe the outsides of the feet, and maybe moving towards bringing the elbows to the insides of the knees here as we come into happy baby. So finding your expression of happy baby. And if you like a little movement here, you can roll from side to side. And then we'll bring that to stillness. Soles of the feet come to find each other. And then gently extending the body out long into Shavasana. And once again, just taking a moment here to notice how the series of postures that you practiced today was experienced in your body. Perhaps begin to slowly scan up your body from your toes through your calves and feet into your thighs, your pelvis, your lower back, into your belly and your torso, your shoulders and your arms, your chest and your neck, your head and your face and your mind. How did you see yourself today? And notice that if you can observe those thoughts, then you are the observer, not the thinker. Whatever thoughts you may have had about your practice today, those thoughts are not you. And so allow yourself to shift into this place of the observer, the one who is watching the body, the one who is watching the mind. Begin to gently call yourself back, wiggling your fingers and toes, perhaps inhaling a nice morning stretch, arms reaching up overhead, feet reaching away. And then roll yourself to one side whenever you become ready. Arrive back in a seated position with your eyes closed or your gaze lowered. Bring your hands to heart center if you like. We'll close today's class with a quote from BKS Iyengar, who says, "Yoga does not change the way we see things. It changes the person who sees." Thank you for joining me for this class today, and may your yoga follow you off the mat.